What you see before you is Emerson's worst ceiling fan, the Casablanca friction drive. Brown finish with faux plastic wood grain blades. Light you see on the fan is original, genuine Emerson light. Uses a double claw Hunter original style mount. And right here is the information tag there on the top. If you can see it there, if it'll focus in on it. So yes, the Emerson friction drive. These were sold sometime between 1978 to 1982, I believe. This one in particular is from 1980. It is a variable speed fan, of course non-reversible. Like I said, it uses a friction drive system to drive the fan. For some reason back in the malaise era, ceiling fans like this, manufacturers tried to reinvent the wheel on economical fans and how they were driving, trying basically make them as cheap as they can. So of course Newtone had their friction drive veranda, Emerson had this thing, and their Edison Toastmaster had a belt drive fan at this time period that's also equally as weird. And there's a couple others as well that slip in my mind at the moment. But a lot of manufacturers tried to, like I said, reinvent the wheel on ceiling fans for some reason, and ultimately they all failed. So this fan here uses a Westinghouse 6-pole shaded pole motor, which is mounted, and it's basically just like a box fan motor, mounted sideways in the motor housing. And of course there is a wheel that is attached to the motor shaft, and that wheel turns the flywheel. That is what the blade's attached to. Earlier ones, the drive wheel was made out of a plastic rubber material, which had a design flaw. If the fan was sat unused for a long period of time, the wheel would deform, create a flat spot in it, and you'll have yourself a thump every time it went around. This one here, sometime around 1980, they revamped that wheel and made it into a milled aluminum. So it's a much better design. So variable speed here. Here's the knob. I believe there would have been a pull cord system, 2 ends on those arms, and would have came down. But they're missing on this fan for some reason. Here's the light. These were made in 36-inch and 52-inch forms, white and brown. Sears also offered these as well, which used a different shape motor housing. And the Sears models also came in white and brass and brown and brass. So very oddball fans. It's fairly hard to find today for quite obvious reasons. So let's go ahead and get things started. Started here on low. You probably noticed that I had to start it on high real quick first to get it going, and then turn it down to low. And that's because there's enough, you have to have enough oomph to get the whole fan moving there. These things have a pretty high tendency to stall out, which if you were to leave the fan running unattended and power goes out and you had it set to a lower speed, it will not start on its own and the motor will burn out. So as you can hear, pretty loud. Gonna turn it up a little bit. As you can see, it has a wobble. I'm kind of guessing that the blades are kind of warped. I think this fan sat for quite a bit of time in a box. That's how it came to me when I got it. I guess someone was cleaning out their attic or something. So this fan probably hasn't been used for quite some time. The globe was wrapped in a padded envelope that had a date stamp of 1992 on it. So that'll give you quite a little bit of an estimation of how long this fan was unused for very obvious reasons. And we'll take it straight to high. So as you can tell, definitely not the fastest fan in the world. Probably doing around 150 RPM. I want to say the blade pitch on this fan is somewhere around 13 degrees, so it throws out a okay air. Like I said, definitely not the most powerful fan. But like I said, these were very cheaply built fans. So these are definitely not one of Emerson's greatest moments here, making this fan, that's for sure. Go ahead and let it coast. In 1982, these were replaced with the Designer Series, which was a K55 motor fan, which was a lot better than these are. So before I go, I'll cut the video and I'm going to show you what the inner workings of the motor looks like. So stick around. And here is the method to this fan's madness. You can see the 6-pole Westinghouse motor in there mounted horizontally. That motor draws roughly 2.5 amps, which the Hunter originals of this time period also draw 2.5 amps. So the Hunter original, you have twice the performance with the same amount of power consumption. So on the other side, you'll see the drive wheel, which, like I said, is milled aluminum. The entire hub assembly is all cast aluminum. You can see the rubber track what creates the friction. As you can see, it's getting a little dry rotted from age, but it's still holding its own. You can also see that the fan has a little cooling fan inside. A fan within a fan. Fanception. So yeah, let's go ahead and start this thing up. We'll turn the light back on since I didn't show you that before. Back down to low here. Looks very weird without its lower portion of the motor housing. Back to high. I'm sure with the rubber track on this fan being dry rotted and getting fairly hard, it's allowing the drive wheel to slip a little bit. Like I said, this fan is 44 years old, so it is what it is. And that's all I got for this one. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this piece of a fan known as the Emerson Casablanca friction drive from 1980. Stay cool. Take care. Peace.